California, Barry Posner, Santa Clara, California. Introduction. Michigan Falling. In 2009, the state of Michigan was in a downward spiral. Statewide, it was hemorrhaging jobs, and unemployment offices were receiving 800,000 to 1 million calls per day. Governor Jennifer Granholm, then in her second term, recalled, "In our unemployment offices, people were in line down the street. There were people who had never collected unemployment before. The system was like a cancer patient that was breaking down everywhere." Granholm had reason to be concerned, and as time went on, the situation only worsened. Moreover, she had long believed that Michigan's manufacturing culture was working against the situation. People were so used to boom or bust cycles, she lamented. They knew that historically, when the nation was in a recession, Michigan had deeper troubles because people weren't buying large consumer products like cars. And when the manufacturing industry that had once sustained Michigan's economy began failing, the shift was catastrophic, and the damage was unprecedented. Toward the end of her first year in office, Granholm had traveled to the 8,000-person town of Greenville, Michigan, after learning that Electrolux, a refrigerator manufacturer that employed 2,700 people, had made plans to uproot its operation and move its plant to Mexico. In her typically confident way, she teamed up with the mayor, the local chamber of commerce, the company's union representatives, and others to construct a comprehensive plan to get Electrolux to stay. Granholm's team members met with executives from Electrolux and presented them with an extraordinary package laden with concessions and incentives that they thought no business could refuse. "We offered them zero taxes for 20 years. We offered to build them a new factory, $30 million in concessions annually, and a $750 million package over 20 years. It was the most aggressive we had ever been, that Michigan had ever been." It was a good deal, and the team members knew they had done their best to keep Electrolux in the region. After the presentation, the Electrolux executives left the room to confer. About 15 minutes later, they returned. As Granholm recalled, one of the executives began, "This is really generous. We have never seen an offer like this. But," he continued, "there's nothing you can do to compensate for the fact that we can pay $1.57 an hour in Mexico. So we're moving." With that, Electrolux was gone. Electrolux had manufactured its last refrigerator in Michigan, and another Michigan community was left devastated. Shortly afterward, the stunned citizens of Greenville held what they called a Last Supper, a picnic at Clackle's Orchard Pavilion, a local indoor facility. The town was convening both to remember the past and to make sense of the present. Granholm attended the picnic. It was like community grieving. People could not believe that their whole identity had been stripped, and not just their identity, but their livelihood. One worker approached Granholm with his 2 young daughters. He relayed how his grandfather, his father, and he himself had all gone to work at the plant right out of high school. With his daughters looking on, he lobbed a hard question at Granholm. "So, Governor, who is going to ever hire me?" Granholm heard the emotional appeals of hundreds of families that night, all asking similar questions. She stayed until the last person left. Then she went home and cried. Thousands of workers now needed to find a way to feed their families. Crushed though Granholm was, she also began to realize that the people of Michigan needed to change their mindset, specifically the ingrained belief that if they simply continued to do what they had always done, they would somehow turn things around and bring jobs back. "We had 10 million people," she said. "And it takes a long time to get a whole cultural paradigm shift into people's mindset. And sometimes you could hit bottom before you fully acknowledge, yeah, we needed to change. Michiganders would have to look to new industries, try new ideas, and shift the focus away from what once had worked to what could be done differently. They had to change, and they didn't have any time to waste." Turnarounds in the modern landscape.